Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the stream. And yeah, we're going to be doing some fun stuff today, working on the map some more. I have so I'll show you. I've been updating the map icons as well. I think you'll enjoy them. But I'm trying to work through this problem, which is really annoying, which is I have to individually export every map icon, and I've spent more time trying to figure out how to get around it than it would have taken me to just manually export everything, but you know, that's just how it goes. Anyway, we might just have to go through and manually export everything again, but I really don't want to do that. But I'll show you what's going on with all of that in just a second. First, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting, so if you are interested in dark fantasy roguelite auto battlers, definitely give it a shot. I would appreciate that. Give it a wish list. And also, I've got the Patreon here. If you subscribe at this top Patreon tier, not only will I be super happy and super grateful, but you will get an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So that's, again, if you only subscribe at this tier for at least 1 month, you will get those 2 perks. And then also I've got my Udemy courses, which you could purchase if you're interested in supporting me, but also interested in learning how to build games in the Godot engine. And the Udemy courses are linked below. The Discord is linked below. All that good stuff. Okay. Let me get all set up here. Let me say hello to everyone. Hello, Kenyaz. Welcome back. Jeremy, welcome, welcome. Jackie Daytona, good to see you again. Nathan, morning coffee and a Firebelly stream. What could be better? That's what I'm saying. Welcome to you. Welcome, Angela. Hello, V. Welcome back. Did you see YouTube went down a couple days ago? I heard about that. Yes. I did hear about that. I don't know where I was. I guess I wasn't around to actually witness the YouTube crash, but that's okay. Anyway, so I've changed all the map icons. Not really changed, but I've reshaded them. And I think it looks a little bit nicer. Let's see. Let's take a look at the map here. So here's what the map looks like now with the reshaded icons. So they're not like the dark background color anymore. They have more reds, they're brighter. And they still get lit up to their normal colors when you are in the vicinity of them, and they kind of get dimmed a little bit when you go out, but I don't know. How do we feel about this? Do we like this better? I'm too chronically online not to witness it, yeah. Hello, Sea Stroll. Do you think it would be weird to make the best horror co-op slop game after finishing your 2D Udemy tutorial? Go to tutorial, by the way. Thank you, Sea Stroll. Do you think I will be able to make the best horror co-op slop game? Well, without the word slop there, I would have said no, but making the best slop, I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe making great slop is better than making a great non-slop game. So I would say good luck to you. I have faith. And if you're going to choose something to be great at, being great at slop is probably one of the easier things to do. Weird question. How did enchantment become associated with enchant? I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, how did tentacles become associated with enchant? That, I don't know. I just made up an encounter where you're like meeting. So the enchant, I started with the enchant screen, which is like the water belly, right? The monster. So I'll go to the enchant and show you. Actually, there's a shockwave coming up too. So check this out. When I go out of this, there should be a shockwave coming. Boom! The Inquisition grows stronger. So I want to do some more animations with that, but that's like the rollover of the 100 Inquisition strength. Just a nice little visual indicator. And there's also something else interesting going on there, which I will show you. But anyway, here's the enchant. So the enchant started with just drawing this character, this tentacled Cthulhu monster thing, and that's basically just how they became associated with enchants. There's nothing special. That's just what I came up with. It makes the closer nodes very readable. Yeah, I think I like it. I think I like it. And you can still read these nodes out here a little bit easier too. I also like the little green that's being thrown in with the like the white highlights that I've thrown in onto the combat. So I've updated all the rest of the nodes as well to have those kind of like white highlights and stuff. But unfortunately, I have to go through and like export each of these manually. And none of the automated tools that I have work. So I have a tool that exports all the layers in a sprite and uses the layer name as the image name, as the PNG name. The problem is, though, the only options I have are to keep the entire canvas size or to trim, which is a crop. But what I need is I need all of these to be 30 by 30 squares. And so the only way to do it is to go to each one here and hit Control Shift Alt S, type in map icon underscore combat, and then export, and then do that for each one. Booster. But I literally played around with like command line options and all that stuff last night, and nothing works because there's fundamentally no way without scripting to export each layer as its own sprite, but trim it down to a 30 by 30 or whatever grid size you want. So I am cursed to just do this every time. And it doesn't help that this text is hard to read with this thick cursor. Like, I can't see some of the characters sometimes. I really wish that these dialogue boxes were just native boxes. I understand the stylistic thing here, but I think it hurts usability. Anyway. Map icon, enchant. Map icon, artifact. Map icon, checkpoint. This is not called a checkpoint in the code anymore, but the asset is still called a checkpoint. Map icon, reagent. Now let's hope I don't do another pass on any of these things. I also redrew some things, or not redrew, but I touched up the art in a lot of cases. So the obelisk art is like, it's different now. I cleaned up this alchemy icon. I cleaned up the shop icon. I did some cleanup on this upgrade icon. I did clean up on everything basically. So that was because now that I have more colors to work with for the icon. Previously it was just 2 colors, I think. No, 3 colors. But now I have 4 colors I could potentially use, so I needed to do some touch-ups to make it so that I could shade things a little bit nicer. Anyway, so now that all of those have been updated, we can take a look at this again. I hate that Twitter word. Jokes aside, thanks for the 2D co-op course. It's very good. If anyone wants a great co-op tutorial, you need to check the Udemy course. Thank you. Yeah, I do not pay people to promote my courses, so everything is organic. But thank you, Seastrel. I appreciate that. Hello, Ninja Link. Welcome back. Timothy on Internet. Hello. How's the map progression going? Remember you were working with an issue a couple of days ago. Yeah, it's going good. I would say it's going pretty good. Yeah, I think this looks much better. These little green... These little highlights that turn green when they're outside of your visible radius, those are actually very like eye drawing. So it's pretty easy to pick out the nodes on the map when you're looking. And then of course, everything else that's near you being lit up so that it's using more oranges and reds. That adds quite a bit of contrast, so that's good. Looks great. Stuff is really coming together. Thank you. Why not a Python script? Oh, without scripting. Yeah, Asprite supports Lua scripting, which you could do all kinds of stuff with the Lua scripting. And I could have just had the AI, I could have just said, hey AI, do my Lua script for me that does this thing. But that's almost too much work too. Hello, TK. I missed watching for a few days because I was traveling for work. Have you decided yet how you want to handle encouraging the player towards second and third regions? Yeah. So I'll give you a rundown of everything that's changed. So the rundown is that all the regions are accessible from the start now. So I can go into this. Previously, this was the first region, right? I can go here, I can go into this region, which was previously the second region, and I can go into this region, which is previously the third region. So the map is now basically just a giant circle, and there are like little cones starting from the start that are segmenting out the regions. So it's like, you know, a 120-degree cone from the start going this way, this is all the first region, and then a 120-degree cone going this way is the second region, and then so on and so forth for the third region. And the idea now is that there are strongholds in each region that contain the boss, but then there are also these boss patrols. So you could fight the boss out in the field by visiting a node that is currently influenced by the boss patrol, or you could fight the boss at the stronghold. And so what happens now is this notoriety bar, this has become an Inquisition strength bar now. When this hits 100, it upgrades the difficulty of all of the combat nodes on the map. It upgrades the difficulty of all the combat nodes. And so, you know, you want to be sure not to have this go up past 100 a couple of times because it's going to get very difficult. And you can upgrade your nodes, so the non-combat nodes, by defeating bosses. Every time you defeat a boss, the non-combat nodes will upgrade. So the only way to gain player strength ultimately is to defeat the bosses, so you can get higher tier upgrade nodes and whatnot. And you still have to manage how many nodes you're visiting, because every time you hit 100, the combats are going to get harder. So that's the idea, and then of course the goal still is to defeat all 3 bosses to basically conquer every region. And so that's what we've got in place so far. There's a lot of room to do extra stuff here, like having certain regions have certain event types. I think it would be cool to say, like, this type of event cannot appear until after you defeat one boss or whatever. So it might be the case that, oh, defeating this stronghold boss will add grow board events to the map, right? And so the only way maybe to get board increases would be to defeat a boss. You know, there are different ways that I need to entice the player to fight the bosses. There's the negative side of it, which is that if you spend too long just avoiding the bosses, the combats are going to get very strong. But then there's the positive side of it, which is that I can offer more strength upgrades to the player if you defeat a boss. But the bosses are still relatively strong, right? So it's not like you can just beeline it to the boss and, you know, just try it. So yeah, that's what we got right now. Very pretty icons, thank you. I'm planning to demo my game at a local group tomorrow. Anyone got demo tips? Yeah, I think main demo tip is try not to explain your game too much to the player. If you handhold the player too much, then you're probably going to miss the pain points that players are going to experience. So it sounds weird, but when a player's like, oh, I don't know how to do this or whatever, it's sometimes good to just let them fumble around for a little bit, because that can be very informative. So try not to be too handholdy. Try not to jump in too early to help players out. Like if they're really stuck, obviously you don't want them to just like bounce off of your game, but don't help them immediately. Like let them try to figure it out. And if players are routinely getting stuck at some point, or they're routinely not understanding how a mechanic works, that's valuable feedback for you. So you don't want to jump ahead of that and like prevent yourself from noticing that feedback, right? Otherwise, good luck. Everything is so bright now, yeah. Like you missed exporting the rightmost in the top row. I did, but that's because this icon is no longer used. This was the old grow board icon. I may bring this back and use this for something else, but for now it's not in the game anymore. Yeah, I did intentionally skip it, yeah. Get as much feedback as you can, but don't take it personally and don't panic trying to make everyone happy. Right, yeah. Looks good, thank you. Been watching the new Fallout season? I have not, no, I don't really... The only time I watch TV shows is with my wife, and then it's like whatever she puts on is what I'm watching. Could be in the middle of the season, and I'm just like, okay. But I don't know, is it any good? Last time I demoed, I got totally roasted. Yeah, that happens. Gamers are rude, yeah. Yeah, you have to depersonalize it, which is hard to do, you know. Your work being put in front of people and getting criticized, it's hard to do, but if you kind of like depersonalize it and you just say, this is just a product that they're evaluating, right? That can help. People in general are rude for no reason, yeah. How do you balance all the skills of game dev? Hello, Just a Janny. It's low-key fascinating to see people take on a jack of all trades role. For me, I like the coding and challenging aspect of making a game. How do you balance it? Well, I mean, there's not really, I don't know how I would phrase, I don't know if I would phrase it as balancing, because like with Alka Mortis, if I'm saying, oh, I'm going to make all the art and do all the programming and all the game design for my game, there's not really any balancing to be done. I just have to like do it. But that doesn't mean that there isn't work involved in like learning how to do the art and everything. So, you know, it's just like anything, you just learn each skill independently and then you try to put them together and then you see what works and what doesn't. In terms of like balancing, yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes I'll get sick of programming and I'll focus on art and making new content. And then sometimes I'll get sick of art and I'll just move back to making the big feature changes, which is primarily the code, right? But it's a lot to learn for sure. I just don't know. Balancing is mostly just a matter of bouncing between things and just learning things in chunks. I don't know if that's helpful at all. Probably not. Well, Firebelly just covered it, yeah. The game alone should be able to direct the player, and guiding them might prevent them from discovering bugs and playstyles that would be important to see. Right, yeah. I like those changes. They definitely add to the game loop and allow the player to strategize on how to approach the bosses. Yeah, I think the consensus here is that this direction is good. So, we'll see. I did a playtest the other day on stream. Goodness gracious. I did a playtest the other day on stream, and it was bugged, but I was liking how the flow was going. I think it's just a matter of getting the numbers dialed in terms of like, you know, the enemy strength, the player strength, and making sure that stuff is all balanced. I'm still a little bit concerned, like... I'm a little bit concerned that the player may get themselves into a point of no return with respect to the enemy strength, where once you get past a certain notoriety level, like all the combats become impossible. So that's one concern that I have. I don't know if that's going to feel that great. And then another concern that I have is if the player just remains super strong, they could just go throughout the map and go through like 8 different level ups of the player or the enemy strength, and it won't matter. Maybe that's not a problem. Maybe I should just allow players to clear the entire map if they really want to, but I kind of don't want that to happen either. So yeah, we'll see. Those are my main concerns with this approach, but I think there are various ways of fixing that. Are you planning on adding some sort of indication as to where the strongholds are? Yeah, that's a good question. Right now, the strongholds are like roughly in the center always. So I could keep that because it's still like, even if you know that they're roughly in the center, it's still hard to find the exact path to them. So I could keep them always in the center so that the player knows, like, generally speaking, I just have to go to the middle and like find it. But I think it would also maybe be fun to randomize the location of the stronghold. But then if I did that, I think I would need a more explicit indicator as to where the stronghold is. What could be fun, actually, is I could put, like, maybe little signposts in the region. So I could say, like, I could identify, like, the shortest path to a stronghold from the start node, and then, like, pepper some signposts in and say, and basically tell the player, like, this is the shortest path. That might give them enough of a hint as to where to go. But, yeah, gonna have to do something like that. Lean into your strengths and do best at your weaknesses. Yeah. Yeah, leaning into your strengths is important. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, if you're a programmer, if programming is your strength, then you can create games that have more complex systems in them, even if they have simpler art, right? And I think maybe this is why things like, these kind of like very casual games, I don't want to throw shade at like Bollocks, Pit, or Balatro or anything, but these games are not like super graphically impressive, right? They obviously have a very coherent theme and art style, but the things that kind of separate those games is that their systems are relatively complex. And so one thing that could separate you as a game developer from everyone else, if you have strong coding skills, is you may be able to more easily create a game that has complex systems than somebody else, right? Somebody who's really good at art but is not very good at programming is going to have a really tough time making a game like Factorio, for instance, right? Now, I think everyone would have a tough time making a game like Factorio, but I think you get the point, right? Like, if you have the programming skill, then what you can lean into is making games with like more sophisticated systems that have a lot of interactions with each other. Randomize and signage would be cool to give some hints. Yeah, shops could provide maps or something to guide the player. That's a good idea. Are there floating eyes still in the game, or did you fully replace them with the flag? Those are fully replaced now. So the flags work the same in the sense that they affect the nodes in their radius, and they also reveal the fog of war. So if I look at my project and I go to debug here, hide fog of war, we'll turn that off. So that you always will know where the boss patrols are. So like up here, I know where the boss patrol is, but the boss patrol also tells me what nodes are in that radius, right? So if I'm paying attention to the boss patrols, I can take like a mental note of like, oh, that's an artifact node. I want to get to that, right? So yeah. I mean, I could do the same thing for the strongholds too. I could just put the strongholds out like visible in the fog of war. But yeah, we'll see. They should just do a depth first search or breadth first search. Yeah, that would work too. But, you know, those are things to figure out. Anyway, so I've got the shockwave effect now too that indicates when the enemy boards have been updated. So check this out. Boom, shockwave. I also want to do some kind of animation for the combat nodes to indicate that they've been upgraded. I may also want to put like icons on them or something to show that they've been upgraded. And I probably want to have like a tier level up here somewhere too. I'm not sold on this progress bar either, but I don't know. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. Okay, anyway, so what was the next thing I was going to do? Why is this one not updated? Oh, did I? I think I did the wrong thing. Hold on a second. Oh, I did call it. Okay. Let's do this. We're going to change this. Quick load. Grow board. And then I'm going to get rid of this here. Okay, that should do it. Why does my VS Code keep disappearing? That's so annoying. Dang Microsoft products. Talk about slop. Okay. Could be cool if the boss encounters also added some sort of hindrance to the player, like maybe one of them could reset the fog of war on the map, another could lock your alchemy for a few combats. Yeah, I thought my initial plan was to make it primarily negatives that get added, but we talked about that on chat, came to the conclusion that that might feel pretty bad for the player. I do think that there could be some negative global effects that happen, but I wouldn't want to do it in response to the player doing something that they're supposed to do. Like, I don't think defeating the boss should make the game harder for you. I think defeating a boss should offer new upgrade opportunities. What should make the game harder is this bar filling up, right? So it could be multiple things, like, you know, the first time it could just upgrade all the combats, and then the second time it could upgrade the combats and add like a negative global map condition or something like that. You know, like, oh, you're just going to start each combat with only 90% health now, you know what I mean? Or whatever. That's something that we're going to have to think about. But I like the way this is going. The other thing that I want to do, this is just kind of like a nice to have. I would like to have like rivers or something dividing all the regions. So imagine there's a river flowing through here and it just like, you know, divides the region to create these very specific region boundaries. And then I could have like a little road with a bridge going over the river. Maybe it's a little bit longer. And so you go over the river and that triggers, you know, that you're in the next region. I think that would be kind of fun. And we could add fishing to the game too. Makes sense. I like that. Yeah. So anyway, let's just do some goofing around, I guess. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to show too is I'm actually multi-threading the combat upgrades now, so you could see upgrade combat encounters for all nodes in 406 milliseconds. So it takes 406 milliseconds to upgrade all the combat boards, but I'm doing that on a thread, and it seems to be working. I'm not getting any crashes or race conditions, I don't think. So I go to my run manager here. So I have this config generation task. This is calling seeded run upgrade combat encounters async. And what this is doing is this is gathering up all of the boss entries and combat entries synchronously here, but then it's splitting the actual generation of the new boards into this task here. So this is running on a different thread. And once that's finished, then it's setting the node tiers, it's updating the node tiers, and it's logging the time. But the nice thing about that is I have these little like animation awaits here already. So I'm firing this off immediately. I'm disabling the map input. I'm shaking the I'm waiting a second, shaking the camera, playing the shockwave, waiting another second, and then showing this Inquisition Grows Stronger announcement. And then just to be extra sure, I'm awaiting that configuration task before moving on. But since there's 2 seconds of just animation wait time here, that should give it plenty of time for that generation task to finish before it even gets here. So this is basically just going to resolve immediately, and then we go back into the map state. So I'm basically masking this long-running operation behind these animations here, which I think is good. So it removes the hitching that happens when I'm upgrading, regenerating all those combat nodes. And it's just masked with a very nice animation. And I think basically every every device this is going to run on is going to be able to support at least an additional thread, so I think that should be fine. But that also gives me opportunities to do multi-threading for the map generation as well. So I think I'm going to be able to get this down to the point where the map generation will be able to happen basically instantly. The only thing that's going to be using up synchronous time is going to be the adding of all the nodes to the Godot scene tree, because the scene tree is not thread safe. So, but yeah, I think that's a good situation to be in. The shockwave looks cool, but seems overly smooth compared to the rest of the art style. Would it make sense to quantize the effect a bit? Add farming to quantize the effect. We could. What I could do is maybe I could do it in discrete steps. So instead of doing it every frame or whatever, I could maybe do it like, I could maybe play that effect at like 30 frames per second or something. Yeah, could be something to do. But yeah, maybe quantizing it or pixelating it a little bit could work. What I like about that shockwave effect is it doesn't violate my rule that every pixel drawn to the screen needs to be in my color palette, because it's just modifying the UVs. But I wanted to add another part to this animation, which is playing this animation on all these combat nodes here. I actually don't know what that's going to look like. The map nodes look a lot better and stand out more now. Well, I'm glad you like it, yeah. Hopefully that will help people, you know, with people saying it's too dark. I think just brightening up those map nodes should go a long way to making it easier to look at, I guess. And then all the background elements, of course, are staying dark because those are not important, right? So hopefully that works. Man, there's so much to do on this game. Oh gosh. All right, let's figure out how we're going to do the map node. Do I want to add... Do I want to do an animation player here? Let's see. You could maybe just randomize how much you modify the UVs a bit based on noise, or do a harsher step. Oh yeah. Yeah, I could do that. Like have a little bit of noise in there as well. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. Let's do this though. Let's see. Position, create that. Okay. Anyway. Goodness gracious, I'm getting lost in here. Okay. We'll try that, and then we'll also do a scale here. Yeah, we'll try that. So we got this bounce animation here. Public void, play bounce, animation. Okay, so now when I go to the map container here, where am I actually doing the shockwave? That's happening in game map. Do I want to pass in a list of affected nodes here? We want to get all of the nodes. Let me open up my shockwave scene here. This animation is happening over 1.5 seconds. And it's doing an ease out. So I'm going to need to do some math here to figure out when the shockwave is like reaching certain nodes. But let's just try it, I suppose. Do I want to do this in here? Run map node to map node. Get map node for run map node. Okay. List affected nodes. What? Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. I'm in the wrong spot. Oops. Game map. So we're going to try to play this bounce animation. If affected nodes dot count is equal to 0, we can just return. Okay. Var tween equals create tween. Tween dot set parallel. Okay. All right. So what we want to do is I actually don't know how I'm going to do this. We need the current node. I actually don't know. Also, I agree with Diginanigans that the shockwave is a good idea, but doesn't quite fit in yet. I think it would look cool if it slammed down quicker. The chat music got ominous. Beware of bugs. Yeah. Hello, Straight Pointer. Emphasis on the conflict. Yeah, we can do something about it. We'll see. We'll see. Let me see if I can get this working. I actually don't know how I'm gonna do this. Tween action map node. Tween action. Oops. Map node dot play bounce animation. So I need a delay in here. Set delay. I mean, I could just guess and check. That's going to be annoying, but the problem is this is animating over a animation player here, but it's got a curve. So I would need to calculate like how much the delay needs to be for each node based on the distance, which is kind of annoying. That right? Set delay, this is in seconds. I'm just gonna guess. Const shockwave, const float, shockwave speed is equal to, let's just take the window width divided by 1.5. So 1.5 is the animation duration, 320 is, well, the half width. Set delay, node distance divided by shockwave speed. I don't know, we'll see. Probably not going to work. Let's see what happens. Good morning, Chris. How are you doing? Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, that's a little bit too slow. Doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to look like it roughly matches, that's all. That's kind of weird. It's all right. See what happens. Icons look very different when close. Is there a lighting effect now? There has always been a lighting effect, but it's more, I guess it's more visible with the new colors for the icons. Okay, that seems to work pretty decently. We're gonna make this a little bit more. Make this a little bit more violent. We'll see. That's so cool. Thank you. I started a random side project mobile app because I need to have a break for a few days from game development. What's the mobile app? Now the boss fight will only happen if I go to a stronghold or if you visit the patrol, the boss patrol, yeah. Maybe add some particles shooting out from that when it crashes down. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what I can do about this. Wonder if I should just make the, one thing I could do is, I think this camera shake maybe could be a little bit more. Hello, Sunset Knight. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I wonder if this shockwave speed might actually need to go up. 420. You know, Crow looks kind of too dark now. Could fix that. Are you using Godot? I am, yes. I am using Godot. What kind of a silly question is that? Is the Firebelly using Godot? Seriously? Really? I'm kidding. Maybe a little dust cloud when the icons settle down? Yeah, dust could work. I think that's looking all right. These guys really want their effect. Yeah. I think, I mean, there's obviously stuff that I can do here to make it look better. I'm trying to just do like one thing at a time though and see how it looks and then figure it out from there. I think that looks pretty decent. One thing I do want to do is I want to filter the nodes. So I'm not animating everything on the map because it looks a little bit weird if I do that. So here, and n.distance to dot position dot distance to, we do distance squared to current run map node dot position. Okay. The game looks interesting. Thank you, yeah. Is the Eye of the Inquisition gone now? It is, yeah. Do you prefer C# and Godot over GDScript? Yes, I do, yeah. Just personal preference, that's the only reason. Cool. I think that's working pretty good. Yeah, I didn't even really need to do exact timing there on the shockwave. That works fine. So I think I would want some kind of like indicator to note that these are upgraded, or maybe up here somewhere. I still haven't figured out all of that, what I want to do about that. Okay. I think that's looking all right. Okay. Is the map somewhat analogous to mapping in other games where there's a fog of war and you're just discovering nodes? Yeah, it's like that. You have free roam. I mean, free roam to the extent that the roads are connecting all the nodes. And then, yeah, you discover stuff as you move through the map, through the fog of war. And every node is going to be either a combat node or some kind of node where you can get an upgrade for yourself. And so it becomes, and every node you visit has this notoriety penalty, which I'm actually going to have to change. This eyeball icon doesn't work anymore for this, but every node has the has an Inquisition strength penalty, meaning the Inquisition will gain strength when you visit a node. And when it rolls over 100, the Inquisition will grow in power. So yeah, that's how it works anyway. So yeah, you rework anything but the grave sprites. Yeah, that will come eventually. I'm still not happy with how the boosters work. What's your inspiration for the game? I played the Bazaar a while ago when it was like in open beta or closed beta or whatever. I don't remember what. I was like, oh, this would be really fun as like a single player auto battler. I think there are quite a few single player auto battlers on Steam, like inventory management auto battlers. But the thing that makes this game different is the alchemy system, which allows you to create your own synergies by taking abilities from one card and putting it on other cards. So, for example, I can merge these together So there's the phylactery abilities and there's the hag abilities. And if I merge those together, I will get a phylactery that has, in this case, it got both of the hag abilities here. And the hag got just the one phylactery ability. So you can take abilities from one card and put them on other cards. And then that can help you with your strategy because, you know, cards are all different sizes, but they also have different tags. So like the hag is a minion here, whereas this mausoleum key is a relic. So there are some abilities that scale off of relics or minions or whatever. And so you use this alchemy system to basically like get all the abilities you want onto the card configurations that you want. And then you can have artifacts here, which are like permanent buffs, which will change how your build works. And then, yeah, the idea is that there's just a bunch of layers of strategy. So it's about getting abilities that you want on your cards, getting the artifacts that you want, managing your grid space here by fitting and packing cards in. And I can unlock cells here to put more stuff there. So yeah, that's the idea. And then you just fight the combat encounters, like the one I'm in right now. And you try to win. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Anyway, what to do now? What to do now? I still don't know if I like this progress bar. I think it would probably help if I added like an animated swirl on the end of it, like this. I still need a way of showing the player the world strength as well. Yeah, still need a way of doing that, but hello MKRD, welcome. You could work on adding noise to the shockwave, potentially add particles to the combat node bounce. Yeah, I could. I don't know. I worked on the shockwave all last night. I kind of don't want to work on it right now. Do you do all the art as well? I do, yes. I like it. Just think they could have a label telling what it is or something like that. Before I forget it again, is there a weapon that heals the player? I remember struggling to staying alive with my Abomination weapons build. Wondered if there's something like that in the game. There is not, but we can definitely add that. We can definitely add that. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll figure out something to do here. Yeah, I don't know. I think at this point, maybe we'll add the swirls to this and see if that makes a difference. But yeah, this needs to indicate like this is the Inquisition strength or something. I don't know. UI, UX is a big problem for me, as many of you know. But I'll take a quick 3-minute break and we'll figure out what to do next. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So let's add the swirls. Add fire effect. Where should I add the fire effect? To the bar? That might work. Swirls and fluid like health you mentioned the other day. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. All right, now I got to figure out how I actually do that. Health globe. So yeah, so I've got a node here. I'm gonna need to mask it. Do I need to mask it? Maybe I don't need to mask it. Well, probably do actually. Let's go to the run progress bar. Okay. Do I need to do fluid for both? I probably do. This is going to be a little bit tricky. That's all right. Does this even need to be? That doesn't need to be an HBox container. Okay. Just trying to think of how I want to do this. Health globe flow.gd shader. Okay. So I probably want to copy this shader and just use this. Let's go to my run progress bar. Assets, UI, level progression, map progress.asprite, fill. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna want actual white here. Let's do something like this. Okay, we could try that. Flow, map, progress, flow, foreground. Map, progress, flow, background. Oh, oops. That's not good. So there needs to be at least some padding. What is this width? 8? That should work. Selection, visible layers, map progress, flow, background. I guess these don't need to be separate sprites since I just flipped it, but that's all right. We will just make it like that. So we need a mask now. Map, progress, fill, mask. swirls. Okay. Actually, let's just do the flow. Bring those in here. Can put those underneath the swirl there. Okay. Copy this shader material, put it here. Paste as unique. Okay. Is there a reason why this isn't working? Why is that setting it all to white? I don't understand that. What? Run progress bar. Why is this white? It's just setting the whole thing to white, but it should be using the texture. It should be using the texture alpha. It's getting the text color here. Huh? Oh, maybe I need to... Hold on a second. I think I need to change this. Repeat enabled. There we go. That's what I needed. Repeat enabled. All right. Uniform bool. Actually, let's do uniform float. Let's do speed X modifier equals 1.0. Uniform float speed Y modifier is equal to 0. Okay. So then in here, oh, I don't have enough room to do this stuff. Material 0, 1. Okay, we're going to grab this. Float, Y, wave, offset. I'm just going to multiply this by a speed Y modifier. Sorry, not sorry. X wave offset. I think that's right. Maybe I flip these around. I don't know why this is flipped around like this. Oh well. That's more like what I want. Why is that? Maybe I need extra padding on this texture now. Let's just try this. Map progress. Flow foreground and for background. Export those things. Okay. I suppose that will work. We'll see. Let me make sure my health globe hasn't broken with all my changes. Health globe. Health globe looks alright still, so that's good. They're using the same shader, so I'm just trying to do things in a way that's not going to break. Okay. So this is the flow background. Let's copy this material. Oops. Copy this. Texture, repeat enabled. Material paste. Make unique. Okay. Why? Don't do that. I hate that. Don't pop open the shader editor for me, please. Thank you. Okay, anyway. That may end up looking weird, but we'll see. Okay, is there a way to turn that off? Editor settings. Disable shader dock from opening automatically Godot. Editors, shader editor. Nope. Okay, close all. That's so annoying. I don't want this open. Anyway, it's fine. So we have the progress offset here. Yeah. So we got the progress offset. Let's grab this as a unique name. Node private node 2D swirls. Update state. Swirls dot position is equal to new vector 2. Progress bar get, is progress ratio a thing? No. Progress bar dot value times, actually I guess I should just use the swirl mask. Whatever, I'll just hard code the 172 for now. This is probably not going to work because I'm going to need to animate those swirls as well, but let's see what happens. Project settings, debug notoriety level 50. I have no idea if this is going to work. Hello, Bubblegum Lord, welcome. Good to see you. That did not work. Maybe it's not updating immediately. Looks like it's just in its normal spot. Let me try to visit a node and see what happens. That's not even close. Why isn't that working? Oh, I guess because the progress bar is being animated, right? So I am going to have to tween this. Progress tween dot tween property. Let's do tween position. Swirls. Vector 2 position. Okay, that should work. Good morning, R and Genesis. Welcome. Good to see you. This needs to be... Actually, we'll take these and move these over one. Yeah, so we got it kind of working. Problem here is that it looks bad with all that shading. So I may just have to get rid of the shading if we're going to make that work. I think I could just do this. It's going to look a little bit flat now though, but I guess that's okay. So now the swirls look decent. Now the swirls look decent. I might take this background. Oh, that's so annoying. Move that over a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty decent. I'm going to make some changes to these though. We're going to give this an extra thick line here with 2 C's. Map progress, flow, background, low foreground. Okay, let's try that. There we go. That looks pretty decent, I would say. Maybe these... I think these chunks need to be a little bit smaller, so let's just try redrawing this real quick. We're gonna have to do this again. All right, let's see what that does. Could you add a type of 2-pixel tall texture with a shader over the entire bottom of the bar that snaps the pixel at the top to 1 color darker on the palette and the bottom pixel 2 colors darker? Yeah, I mean, I could do something. I could layer on some shaders here probably, yeah. The problem is I'm going to need to make this fade out, so you'll notice that when I fade that out, that part doesn't fade out. So I might need to wrap this all in a canvas group, and the problem with that is that... Well, actually, I don't know if a canvas group is going to work because I have... When you use like mask clipping, it doesn't work with canvas groups. The other problem here is that It's not going to look good when it does the backing bar fill. Well, you can't really tell, but... To retain the shading, or possible just mask my ID on the swirl effect and leave the rest drawn in A sprite. One thing that I do want to try is what happens if I make this darker? No. So yeah, we'll definitely need some kind of change to that. Let's see. Oh, the joys of art. Maybe just doing something like this will be enough. Make it not look so flat. But yeah, I might need to do something over top. Yeah. Probably going to want some kind of shading there. Artifact idea. I command the cards that are exhausted have exhausted removed, but applies random paralysis that increases every execution. Cards that are exhausted have exhausted removed. So it replaces the exhaust with paralysis, is that what you're saying? I guess I'm not entirely clear on how you're imagining that works, that artifact idea. Basically. Okay. Do we like the swirls or no here? I mean, I guess, yeah, the problem is mainly that it just looks a little bit flat. What does this look like when it's at 0? I see it as a necromancer seeing an exhausted minion and saying, shut up and get back in there. It does, but they're weakened for it. Okay. Could you put a shader and the entire fill will look less flat and draw players' attention? The problem is, like, I'm going to get into a very tricky situation with the shaders here. Like, I already don't know how I'm going to use this mask. I mean, I might just have to... Yeah, so because I'm using a clip here with this mask, I can't use a canvas group over these things. Now, I could do probably a canvas group here. I wonder if that works. No, it doesn't. See, I can't use a canvas group either as a parent or as a child, or a descendant, rather, of this swirl mask. So that's a big problem. I might have to just go all in on shader and just try to do all the masking and stuff in a shader as well. So in that case, it might be better just to do like a noise texture here that's, you know, so if I have a progress, so if I have the texture lined up just right, such that the UVs match the progress value, I might be able to do just like a noise sample at the range, at a short range of UVs, roughly around where the progress value is. So instead of using textures for this swirl, I would do noise instead. And then that could all be part of one shader. And the benefit of that too is I could have the shader mask. Or maybe I wouldn't even need a mask anymore, but I could add a shader part which adds shading across even the fill parts as well. So yeah, that's what I might have to do. I might have to do that. I'm going to remove this shading just so I know that I need to go take a more shader approach to this. Oh, that's going to be annoying. That's going to be annoying, but it's all right. So yeah, eyes swirling acrosses or something. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you're saying like put some kind of like fluid animation in here? Don't open, I don't want this. Close all. Okay. Okay. I mean, I have this mask, so I can do more stuff with this. Like I can do particles. But now it sounds too difficult. Yeah, I mean, it's just the thing with Godot here, probably true of all engines really, is that you just have to get like the rendering order just right, and sometimes things need to be shaders when you're doing certain combinations of like, so like I need a canvas group so I can fade everything out as a group, but that comes with restrictions like I can't use nested canvas groups, I can't use nested clip masks, so then I need to move everything into like a singular shader so that I can go to the canvas group, so that I can apply a shader to the canvas group. I wonder if, so Godot 4.7 is coming out with drawable textures. I wonder if that's going to help a lot, because if I could just have a texture that is this progress bar, and then I could just draw these onto it in accordance with a shader, well, it might still be the same problem, but anyway, we'll see, I guess. I just want to see what a particle would look like in here. My cat just had a massive sneeze. That was kind of alarming. Anyway. Box extents 172 divided by 2. Just throw this roughly in the center. I'm just going to see how this works roughly. I don't know if this is going to look good at all, but we will see. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to mask that too based on the progress as well. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. See if I can just get an impression of what this would look like, though. Wish canvas groups nested better. I assumed I could stack them with shaders and it never worked. Yeah. They're a little bit wonky. They are a little bit wonky. We're just kind of goofing around now. Yeah, I'll have to think of something else for this. Particles running up the bar would be cool. Could do dense particles that have a lifetime set to the progress, so they fade at the progress point. Yeah, that could work. So instead of making them go up, I make them go to the right. Let's just set the lifetime down. Oh, I'm going to need to change the box extents here. Well, maybe I'll change it to a point then. Missing shape, or a sphere rather. Put this at the base here. And then emission sphere radius, we could just do 4 or something like that. I don't know. I don't know about any of these, but we'll see. Looks fiery. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Good to see you. So in this case, I could turn up their lifetime quite a bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to work. The joys of game development. Okay, well, it was a good experiment, I suppose. I think I'm just going to have to do a bunch of stuff with shaders here if I want to get the swirl effect to work. I still have to think about like how I want the swirl on this back part to work, because I've got this backing fill. I mean, it's possible that I don't need that, I guess. If I just hide it. Oh. Could just animate without the backing part, I suppose. Okay, well, we got some work done on this, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream there a little bit early. I'm gonna go eat some lunch, but I'll probably be streaming again this afternoon, so join the Discord to be notified when I go live. Maybe we'll do something more fun this afternoon, like more content or something. We'll take a break from this map stuff, because it's... there's a lot of things that I need to figure out still. But yeah, very much appreciate it. Thank you everyone for joining. And if you want to support the game, the best way to do it is to wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. You can also support me and the game on Patreon. Join the Discord, like I said. My Udemy courses are linked below, all that good stuff. The backfill seems so quick before you barely notice it. Also look like the end bar animation is like slow to fade when going in and out of scenes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I need the canvas group. I can't fade out that whole swirl thing without... well, I actually won't be able to use a canvas group actually because of the mask. So I'm going to need to figure out how to fade those. Yeah, it's a mess. So I'm going to have to probably transition everything to doing like using a shader instead. And then that way I can apply the fade in, fade out to it because that's being driven by a shader as well. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on here, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, that's it. Again, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for being here. Keep an eye on the Discord for the next live notification. Otherwise, I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, take care everyone. Bye-bye.